Welcome to Early to Rise with Kaylin. I am Kaylin. I'm the founder of Purposeful and Empowered, a recovery wellness business. I help people, specifically women in recovery, release physical and emotional weight and finally feel good in their bodies through developing a holistic recovery program that's unique to them and their needs, which can look like a lot of things. One of those tools that I use often is trauma-informed yoga, so healing yoga. Yoga with a focus and an emphasis on recovery, healing, and allowing the body to process stuck emotions and release them, including stuck trauma, old trauma. So today we're coming here together for a short yoga practice. We'll see. I think it's short. I hope it's short. Yeah, it's not going to be too long, but the theme of today's practice is self-integration. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that right now. And then we will hop into the practice. So as I shared in my last video, I am a woman in recovery. I've been in recovery for 2 years, 4 months on the 7th. And often I'll share the things that I've learned through my process here, but also the things that I've learned through years of being a therapist and working in the substance abuse field, both as a counselor, program manager, and therapist, but also as a recovery and empowerment coach. And so, as I said last time, I'm a lifestyle recovery coach. So that means we don't necessarily just focus on how to not pick up. That's a part of it. But we really focus on creating the life of your dreams, a life that supports recovery, creating an environment where the only outcome is success, is your recovery. And that's what I help women do. Creating a life that you don't want to escape from, creating a life that you absolutely want to be present for, creating a life where you can be completely yourself and welcome all parts of you to the table. And that's what self-integration is all about. So something that I noticed really early on, and definitely noticed in my addiction, obviously, was that I was compartmentalizing. So I could not be all of myself all of the time with everyone in every situation. Why? Because, well, I was an addict, and a lot of people didn't know that. I was pretty high functioning for most of my addiction. I held down a job as a licensed therapist and mental health therapist. I was really active. I was doing lots of things, playing on various soccer teams, and living what seemed to be a good life, traveling, stuff like that. But a lot of that was possible because I compartmentalized. I wasn't integrated as a person. I kept this part of my life over here, this part of my life over here, this part of my life over here. And I only allowed people to see what I wanted them to see. But also what ended up happening is I only looked at what I wanted to look at. So not only did other people not really know what was going on with me, I started to lose touch of the reality of the situation, which was that I had a horrendous addiction to anything that you really put in front of me, but really opiates, which then turned into IV drug use later. So in this process of finding recovery and learning what it is and what it takes to maintain recovery without it sucking every day, what I found is something that is amazingly necessary is pursuing self-integration. And so looking at all aspects of myself, learning about myself, and integrating all parts so that I don't have to be compartmentalized and so that I don't slip back into that old behavior. Also, when seeking integration like this, it naturally is affirming for us, right? Because when we're saying, um, I welcome all parts, and I am willing to look at the shadow, I'm willing to look at the parts of myself that I don't want to look at sometimes. I'm willing to say, well, that's not such a beautiful trait, but it's a part of me. Come over here. And I'm willing to be completely myself and authentic and integrated. That is affirming. That is saying, I accept myself as I am, whether it's always beautiful and amazing and charming or whatever or not. It's me. So I welcome all of it. And that it takes a lot of work, right? Especially because most of us who have experienced a life of addiction have also experienced significant trauma. And one of a central symptom of that is that we kind of break off into little pieces, not looking at certain things that happen in our lives, not looking at certain aspects of ourselves. So it's definitely a daily practice. And yoga has been an amazing tool in this process, right? Because I get to start with the physical aspect and move into the rest of who I am. So that means I can do it on the mat and I start to do it physically, and then it makes it easier for me to move into doing it mentally, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. And that's the goal, is to bring these tools and practices um, and healing and recovery into each aspect of ourselves, right? So then we are fully integrated. Because what what I often see is someone who is absolutely busting ass. Like I've had clients who are just doing super amazing in most domains of their life, right? Like they're totally kicking ass at following their nutrition plan, moving their body every day. They're mending broken relationships. They're seeking spirituality and all of that, but they're not doing the mindset work and they're avoiding their feelings, right? So they're kicking ass in many areas, but we still have two domains, the emotional and the intellectual, where they're still struggling, they're still having wounds, and they're not pursuing recovery fully. And when we aren't fully integrated like that, and when we ignore certain aspects of ourselves where we might need help, support, growth, and where we might get a round of applause for kicking ass, when we don't look at those things, um, that's when we start to have the landmines that can pop up and blow up in our face because we missed a red flag, or we missed a soft spot, or we missed a reservation. So that's what I'm going to share today for today's theme, which is self-integration. I'm very excited for today's practice. We're going to focus on the chakras to help us really have that, to hold on to that concept of self-integration. So starting at the root chakra, moving our way up, focusing on each chakra, and then throughout the rest of the practice, really focusing on pulling the energy up, meaning also tapping into each um, kind of like trait that goes with the chakra. So if you're unfamiliar with the chakras, the root chakra is at the root of the body. Um, I think it's near the perineum. Is that what it's called? So basically, it's the first chakra is the root chakra. It's like picture like kind of near the tailbone. It's red. Next chakra is the sacral chakra, which is kind of in this womb area here. Okay, it's orange. Then there's the solar plexus, which is like your belly here, your core. That is yellow. Your heart chakra is green, sometimes pink as well. It's right here. Throat chakra, blue. Third eye, indigo. And then the crown chakra is purple, gold, white light. And they each have traits that that align with them, or kind of you could think of it as like developmental milestones as well, because the chakras match up really well with the developmental, I think it's like Erickson's stages of development. So the first one, the root chakra, is all about grounding and safety. So pursuing personal safety and feeling grounded and safe. The next one, the sacral chakra, is about creativity um, and sexuality. So like sexual freedom and awareness, and connecting to our sexuality, and then connecting to our creativity, um, our imagination. Then the next, the solar plexus, is all about standing in your personal power, self-confidence, feeling you're strong in your self-identity. The heart chakra is about compassion. So we start with self-compassion, right? We start with that sending love to ourselves, sending compassion to ourselves, and then move on to sharing it with others. The next is the throat chakra, which is all about owning your voice, speaking your truth. The next is your third eye, which is being able to see, but not like really physically see, to be able to see beyond the BS and to have insight. The next one is the crown chakra, which is awareness, connection to something greater, um, and being open to that connection. So it's our chakra that's related to our consciousness and our spirituality. So obviously you need safety to be able to have to dive into creativity and feel safe to be to explore your sexuality and your human nature, that and then you need that, both of the safety and the creativity and the sexuality, to stand in your personal power. And you need all of that to really be able to love yourself and love others. If you don't feel safe, it's hard to really move into that compassion for others, right? And then from that place, you're taking your groundedness, and the root is so important because the safety and the groundedness keeps us grounded in reality and in this earth, while still seeking a connection to something greater. So then we're grounded in reality and we're safe here on earth. And then we're feeling, imaginative, creative, and tapping into our sexual power. And we're standing in our personal power and having our self-confidence, which allows us to really get into the heart and have self-compassion and have compassion for others and to love. And then we can lovingly, compassionately, empathetically share our reality, our truth through the throat chakra, right? And then from there, we can move into having insight and seeing beyond what's obvious. And then once we have all that, we can connect to something greater, right? So it actually moves up. And so you're wanting to pull the energy up through the body. And actually, honestly, the energy moves up and down, because the energy, we do like have energy coming through the crown chakra down the body. We're focusing and you can focus on that too, like throughout the practice, but initially we're focusing on moving it up and lengthening up towards the sky, to move that energy up, pulling the breath in, exhaling it out. So a lot of things to get the energy moving and to get us the chakras clearing, which allows us to have that integration. So there will be visualization as a part of today's class. If chakras aren't your thing, don't worry about it. Really just focus on the traits, the concepts. So the concept of being grounded and having safety, the concept of creativity and sexuality and passion, the concept of ambition, personal power and self-confidence, the concept of love, forgiveness, compassion, the concept of communication, owning your truth, self-expression, the concept of intuition, awareness, and insight, and the concept of being spiritually connected, being a part of that shared consciousness. So that it doesn't have to be about the chakras for you. Last but not least, something I would like you to give a try. If you have something nearby, I have jasmine today. So you can use scents as an anchor. And anchoring is really powerful. I don't know who here that's watching this is into NLP. I'm working on my NLP certification now. But when we are experiencing something that can help us that we're experiencing something and it's bringing us into a certain frame of mind or emotional experience, you can anchor yourself in that using touch, smell, stuff like that. So that when you smell that thing again, you touch your finger that way again, it brings that feeling, that experience back into your mind and your body. And smell is a very, very strong anchor. Um, kind of think about anytime you've smelled, like for me, like smelling CK1, I'll be like, oh my God, seventh grade, right? And I could literally like visualize what's going on. So that being said, if you have an essential oil or something that you really like, you don't want it to be like an actual perfume. You want it to be kind of like almost a more simple smell, not super complicated. Then use that now, apply that now, so that throughout the practice you can smell it and really focus on self-integration and how that brings you into harmony and feeling whole and wholeness. And then come back to the scent later and see. This is really, really powerful. Okay. So we're actually going to start standing, but let me start with some breathing. I'm going to put my do not disturb. Thank you. Okay, so just have a seat if you weren't already seated. Maybe come into Sukhasana, which is easy seated pose, crossing at the ankles or the shins, resting the shins in the arches of the feet, and pulling the legs in towards the body. Remember last time I said you might want to grab a bolster. It helps to have a neutral pelvis. I'm not going to get into all that today. We will some other times. So put the legs in towards the body, stacking the shoulders over the spine. Pull the flesh away from the sitting bones on either side so that you can really feel your sitting bones root down. Hands are face down on the knees. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down, letting the shoulder blades rest gently together on your back. Keeping the chin parallel with the earth, go ahead and pull the chin back in space a little bit and lengthen up through the back of the crown of the head. Beautiful. From this place, you can close your eyes if it feels comfortable and you feel safe. If not, don't worry about it. Just maintain a soft gaze or just let your eyes avert down towards the ground. And oftentimes when you do that, your eyes will naturally start to kind of have that soft gaze. Just taking a moment to arrive for today's practice. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale it out through the mouth. Remember, when we are moving the breath, we're starting to get the energy, the emotions moving. So it's really important to focus on getting nice, big, full breaths. So another deep inhale through the nose, feeling the belly expand. The ribs are expanding in every direction. And a big exhale out of the mouth with a sigh. Moving into the Samvriti breathing. Breathing in through the nose on a count of 4, and out through the nose on a count of 5, 6, or 7. I'll be counting us to 6. Breathing in through the nose, 2, 3, 4, and out through the nose, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in through the nose, 2, 3, 4, and breathing out through the nose, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling through the nose, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling through the nose, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in through the nose, 2, 3, 4, and out through the nose, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in through the nose. 2, 3, 4, and out through the nose. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take 2 rounds on your own. Breathing in through the nose. And out through the nose. Last breath. Breathing in through the nose. And out through the nose. After that last breath, take a nice big inhale in through the nose. Exhale it out of the mouth. One more deep inhale in through the nose. Ribs expanding in every direction. Take a pause at the top. And exhale it out with a sigh. And let your breathing fall into its natural cadence. And just breathe. Focusing on the sound. Resonating in your mind, your heart, even feeling the reverberation in your body. Calling to mind the theme of self-integration. Affirming to yourself, I welcome all parts. All of me is welcome here. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale it out. I welcome all parts. All of me is welcome here. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale it out. Bringing the hands to heart center in prayer pose. Gently dip the chin and slowly blink the eyes. Thank you so much for joining me in that brief breath practice, slight meditation. If you are a person who has crystals or stones, you can also bring those out now if you want to use them. I have my chakra stones. That will be here on the top of my mat because I like that stuff. Okay, so we're actually going to start standing. And I have today's theme here, self-integration. I welcome all parts. All of me is welcome here on this right here. So you can peep that if you need to, want to, feel like it. Let's get ready to practice. Go ahead, and if you have any props that you want to use, or if you just have any props, you might want to just grab them. It's nice to have props. Second. Okay. Okay. So your props may be a couple of blocks. If you have yoga blocks, if you do not have yoga blocks, you can use textbooks, books. You could have a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you can use a couch cushion, a pillow wrapped up in a sheet, which I can show you sometime how to do. Towel, blanket, anything that you can sit up on just to elevate your pelvis, your hips. You probably won't need a yoga strap today. This is a yoga strap. You can also use any kind of strap. And for some things, you can actually use a sock or a t-shirt as well. And I think that's it for today. So, ew, Pua. Sorry, she slobbered on that. Gross. So yeah, you see Pua is my assistant. She's here at all times. So yeah, that's all right. Come to stand at the top of your mat. Feet are fist width apart, or they are toes together, heels apart. Once you come to that position, push down heavy through all four corners of your feet. So big toe, little toe, outside heel, inside heel. Feel yourself pushing down through all four corners. Pushing down through all four corners of your feet. And then pick up the toes, spread them apart, and place them back down. So you really can feel that grip on the mat. Like your toes are gripping. You almost feel like your feet are suction cups, okay? So feeling that energetic root down through the feet, like we talked about last time, and then an energetic lift up through the inner arches. So you have that energy moving in opposing directions, like we talked about at the beginning with the chakras. Knees are soft, so we're not locking them out. Knees are soft. If your booty is popping out, pull the tailbone under slightly, keeping the pelvis neutral. Belly button is pulling in towards the spine. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down, letting the shoulder blades rest gently together on your back. Pinkies are grazing the outer edge of your pants. Leading with the heart. Chin is parallel with the ground, and pulling the chin back in space to give length to the back of the neck. Lengthen up through the back of the crown of the head. Here. And take a deep breath at this point. Nice big inhale through the nose. Exhale it out through the mouth. And take a moment to just get comfortable in mountain pose, okay? Just feel yourself rooting down into the earth, and maybe visualize yourself sending roots down into the earth, and then feel the energy lifting up through the inner arches, moving up your legs, up your spine, up the neck, up through the back of the crown of the head. Another nice inhale here. Exhale it out. For the rest of the practice, I'll be breathing in through my nose on a count of 4 and out through the nose on a count of 4. Try to stay with me because I'll be moving to that pace for most of the time. Inhale, arms up overhead, palms can touch or not. Roll the pinkies forward to broaden through the back. So that looks like this. It's kind of like when you're in down dog. You're not just like this. You're like this. So rolling the pinkies forward helps, okay? So arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Keeping the shoulders out of the ears. We'll move slowly for the first one and then speed up. Exhale, hinging at the hips, leading with the heart, coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold, hands just under the knees, flat back, looking straight down. Exhale, fold back over the legs. You can have a nice bend in the knees for Uttanasana. And then inhale, drop the bum, look out in front of you, rise up, arms out to the side. And then exhale, thumbs to the third eye, heart space, Tadasana. So we're doing a quarter sun salutation. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold back over the legs. Inhale, rise up, flat back. And exhale, hands to the heart center. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold over the legs again, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up, flat back. And then exhale, thumbs to the third eye, heart space, and down by your side. Take a nice big inhale through the nose. Exhale it out through the mouth. At any point when you want a nice clearing breath, go ahead and take that. Often when we get the energy moving, we get the breath moving, we start to feel emotions and things pop, kind of like bubble up to the surface, and we can release them with a nice big exhale. So feet are still either a fist width apart or toes together, heels apart. Standing in Tadasana. I'm facing you so you can see, and then I'll turn back to the side. So you're going to bend the knees almost like a chair position. So you don't want your knees to be past your toes. You want to be sending the hips back. You're not in a full chair, but just like a little bit of a crouched position. We're going to do a standing cat-cow. So on the inhale, you're going to push your chest forward, like through your shoulders, pull your shoulders back, and you're going to arch the back. So that's like this, right? And then on the exhale, you're going to tuck the tailbone and round the back, bring the shoulders forward, bring your chin to chest. Okay, so let me show you. So inhale, exhale. This is a standing cat-cow. All right, let's get started. So cow on the inhale. Shoulders back, chest forward, trying to point the tailbone up at the sky. Exhale, cat. Tuck the tailbone, chin to chest. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale. Let's do two more. Really finding as much movement as possible. One last go through each one. And final cat. And then inhale, rise up. We're going to do some half moons to get into the side body. So we're moving the spine in all directions. Inhale, arms up, palms touch overhead, or fingers to touch, or arms like this. And then with your left hand, grab your right wrist and get tall, tall, tall. So lengthen up. So reach for the sky, lengthen the spine, get as tall as you can, keeping the shoulders out of the ears. So if you're like this, go ahead and just bring them down and kind of bring your shoulders back and down, the shoulder blades together and down like you're putting them in your back pocket. Inhale. And on the exhale, lean over to the left. Spinning your chest towards the sky. Rooting down heavy through both feet. And we're not like popping the hip out. We're really just leaning over. Feeling that stretch through the connective tissue, the intercostal muscles. We store a lot of emotion there. Inhale, rise up. Switch, grabbing the left wrist with your right hand. Again, getting tall, lengthening the spine, keeping the shoulders out of the ears. And on the exhale, leaning over to the right. So you're reaching for the right wall with the left hand. I feel a stretch all through here. You can look straight ahead. You can look up. Inhale up. One more time each. So switch your wrists. Exhale here. Inhale. Get tall and exhale, lean over to the left. So reaching for that left wall with your right hand. Continuously spinning your chest up towards the ceiling. Belly button is pulling in towards the spine to protect your back. Inhale. Exhale it out. Inhale, get tall, grabbing the left wrist with the right hand. And again, on the exhale, leaning over to the right. You may be noticing that you're sinking a little deeper into this stretch. Inhale up. And exhale, bring the arms down. Shake and out. Good. And now just to get a little bit more movement to the spine to warm it up, sometimes you just need something a little bit more active. So bring your feet a little wider than hip width and just fall into your natural cadence of breathing. So what we're doing here is just a twist. This is commonly done in hatha practices, as far as my experience. And so you're twisting, letting the arms go limp. So taking all your weight over to the left, coming up on the right toes, and then coming all the way over to the right, all your weight's on the right foot, up on left toes, and the arms are just kind of swinging like this. If, as you feel your spine start to warm up, you can let the neck and let the head go too, letting the neck go and getting a twist as well. Just breathing. About 10 more seconds here. Remembering to twist on the opposite toe so you don't leave the foot planted and hurt the knee. And one to each side. Come to stillness. Great job. Coming to the top of the mat. Toes together, heels apart, or feet fist width apart. Inhale, arms up, palms to touch overhead or hands apart. Get tall. Exhale, hinging at the hips, leading with the heart, coming into Uttanasana. Inhale, half forward fold. So you can have your hands just under the knees, or you can have your fingertips on the mat as long as your back is flat. Exhale, hands flat on the mat, bend both knees, step right foot, left foot, drop the knees. So you're in modified plank. So here, you want your pointer fingers facing straight ahead. So your hands are not straight ahead like this. They're slightly turned out. Keeping shoulders back and down. Keeping the core engaged. And the hips lifted. So we're not like this. We're not like this. Right here. So you can have your toes tucked under. Take an inhale here. On the exhale, lower slowly, elbows facing the back of the room. Chest will be the first thing to hit the mat. Untuck your toes, push the tops of your feet into the mat. Engage the glutes, pull the belly button in towards the spine. Push into the hands and push your chest forward and up for Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. Or right here, baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. Tuck the toes back under. On the inhale, you're going to push up into a straight line and keep your knees down. So back in modified plank, tuck, your toes are tucked, and on the exhale, push your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Now that you're in our first downward facing dog, you're going to walk the dog. So bend the right knee, bend the left knee. Find any movement here that is necessary for your body to warm up and get comfortable. I like to bend both my knees and then straighten them. Remembering to only straighten your legs to where it's comfortable for you. A little bit of alignment here. Your feet should be about a fist width apart. If you're finding that you're rounding into the back and your shoulders are coming up in your ears, pick up the heels slightly, bend both your knees deeply, send your hips up and back. Good. Nice big inhale, find some stillness. Exhale it out through the mouth. Look to the top of the mat, knees bent, and walk your feet up slowly to meet your hands on the exhale. On the inhale, come into monkey pose or half forward fold. Exhale, fold over the legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up with a flat back. And exhale, hands to the heart center. We're going to do that a couple more times, but we're going to switch it up a little each time. So this time, we're going to come into full plank and lower all the way down. And then the last time, we're going to come into full plank, chaturanga, up dog, if you want. If not, stay with any other variation. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, monkey pose. Exhale, hands flat on the mat, step right foot, left foot back. You're in plank now. Take a nice inhale here. So in plank, your heels are shooting towards the wall behind you. You have shoulders over elbows over wrist. Pelvis is lifted, belly button is pulling in towards the spine. So again, we're not drooping like this. You're pushing the mat away with all your strength. So you're not lowering down like this either. So inhale here. On the exhale, push your wrists or your shoulders past your wrists and lower all the way down to the mat slowly, elbows facing the back of the room. Chest is the first thing to hit the mat. Untuck your toes, again, pushing the tops of your feet into the mat, engaging the core, and pushing your chest forward and up. Bhujangasana, that's on the inhale. Exhale, lower down, tuck the toes. Inhale, push up in a straight line into plank. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Awesome, beautiful. Go ahead and take a couple of breaths here. Finding a little movement on your first breath, on your second breath. If your body is comfortable with stillness, find some stillness. Hands should be about shoulder width apart. And you're rolling the shoulders away from each other like you're trying to close the armpits, rolling your forearms in towards one another and pushing down heavy through the knuckles. Your ears, if you tilt your head side to side, should be able to touch your inner bicep. And you're not looking up and you're not looking back. You're just kind of letting your neck be neutral. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale it out through the mouth. Then both knees look to the top of the mat on the inhale. On the exhale, walk your feet up to meet your hands. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up, flat back. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, so we're going to do this final one, this final sun salutation A with the chaturanga and the up dog, and then we'll get into the flow. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, hands to the mat. Plank. On the inhale, push your shoulders past the wrists. On the exhale, lower to chaturanga, bottom of a push-up. Inhale, upward facing dog. So tops of the feet are on the mat, hands are on the mat, and that's it. Your belly button should be aligned with your arms, like your elbows. And exhale, downward facing dog. Awesome, great job. Take a couple of breaths here. And then lower the knees to the mat and come into Sukhasana. So easy seated pose or crisscross. So with the theme of self-integration and using the chakras to guide us, we're starting at the root chakra. This is why we're in Sukhasana. So you're going to root down while we're in this pose, and we're going to be in a very active Sukhasana. Cross your legs at the ankles or the shins, resting the shins and the arches of the feet, pushing through the heel and the ball of the foot at the same time, so keeping both your feet active, engaged. Pull the legs in towards the body. Stacking the shoulders over the pelvis. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down, letting the shoulder blades rest gently together on your back. Leading with the heart. Lean over to one side and pull the flesh away from the sitting bones. So just grab a handful of booty, pull it out, sit back down, lean over to the other side, do the same thing. Now you should feel your sitting bones really rooting into the ground. Pull the belly button in and up, keeping the chin parallel with the earth. Go ahead and pull the chin back in space a little bit and lengthen up through the back of the crown of the head. Take a nice big inhale here. Exhale it out. Focusing on rooting down into the ground through your sitting bones. Maybe even visualizing sending roots out of your body into the earth. Connecting to the concepts of safety and groundedness while in this pose. Knowing that that is the building block for everything else. If we don't feel safe, if we aren't grounded, the rest isn't available to us. So this is where we start. It's like Maslow's hierarchy. Continuing to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose on a count of 4. Picturing a red glowing light, a red glowing spinning wheel at your root. Beautiful. Moving to the sacral chakra. So this is in our womb area or our like pelvis. Again, this is individuality, creativity, sexuality. Inhale, arms up, palms to touch overhead, interlock the fingers, push the hands up towards the sky, keeping the shoulders out of the ears, get tall. And we're going to do some spinal circles. Focusing on the movement. Really getting your whole body into it. Let's switch directions. So when your arms are coming back, the chest is coming forward, you're tipping the pelvis backwards. And when the arms come forward, you're tucking the tailbone, tipping the pelvis forward, pushing into the hands like you're pushing into a wall. One last circle here. Good. And bring the arms down. Now, the sacral chakra is here in this pelvis area. So we're focused a little on pelvic movement. So you can bring your hands down onto the mat. You can have them on your knees. And if Sukhasana is getting uncomfortable for you, like if your hip hurts or your knees are crabby, which happens, come into stag, or you can come onto your knees into thunderbolt pose, which might make it a little bit harder, but still possible. What we're going to do. Yeah, I don't think you can do it in this way. That makes it rough. So I'll demo each way. So here we are in Sukhasana, rooting down through our sitting bones, feeling that safety, that groundedness. We've moved up to the sacral chakra. So we've already moved the body, connected to it a little bit. Now we're going to really focus on the pelvis. So you're going to move the pelvis forward, backward, right? You're going to tip the pelvis forward like cow, tip it backwards like cat. It doesn't have to be a big movement. It's more about the sensation and connecting to that part of your body. Now see if you can move it, like move your body sideways. Maybe put it all together. Starting to notice how much your pelvis is responsible for some of your spinal movement. Switching directions. Okay, so if you're in stag, a little bit harder, but still possible. If you're in stag, both your legs are 90-90, and you can have your hands here. So you're bringing the pelvis, tilting it forward, backwards. And then side to side, a little bit more difficult, but doable. But you got to switch legs too. You got to be even. So just feeling that connection to that sacral chakra. And then in Thunderbolt, it would look like this, which actually this might give you the most range of motion. So tilting the pelvis forward, backwards. You get a lot of range of motion in this pose. And then side to side. And then put it together. So feeling that freedom, that connectedness to your individuality, your creativity, your sexuality. Take a deep breath and exhale it out. Great job. So next, we're coming to our solar plexus. So if you were in cross-legged, you could just roll forward, but we're coming into a plank. So we're going to start just getting yourself situated in like a modified plank situation here. Point your fingers facing straight ahead, so hands are slightly turned out. And you can stay in modified plank if you want. We are going to come into a side plank variation, so that's a little hard for modified plank. But you could do modified plank and then maybe come into the side plank and then come back down. But if you're in full plank, heels are shooting towards the wall behind you. Glutes are engaged. Pelvis is lifted. Belly button is pulling in and up to keep your core lifted. Shoulders over elbows over wrists. Pushing the mat away with all my strength so that I'm broad through the back. Hold. Breathing here, focusing on your solar plexus, which is right here. This is the place of personal power. The color is yellow. And this is all about your ambition and your protection of self. Standing in your truth. Breathe. If it gets challenging, you can drop one knee, lift it, drop the other, lift it. Okay. Now, this can get a little tricky. So you're going to place, you can drop a knee for this. Place your left or your right hand right in the center of the mat. And open your body up towards the long side of the mat. You can keep your bottom leg down like this. And then get long. Keeping shoulder over elbow over wrist. You could bring your arm reaching for the wall ahead of, above you is what it would be. If you want to come into a full side plank, stack the feet or have the feet one in front, one in back. So just find your variation. And then push the mat away so you find this like curve here. Remember, belly button in towards the spine. Core is what keeps us safe and steady here. and at all times. One last inhale here. And a long, slow exhale out, roll over, placing both hands onto the mat, holding that plank. Noticing if you've lost your breath. Okay, so dropping the left leg, bringing the left hand into the center of the mat, turning towards the long side of the mat on the other side. I'll do it this way. So the shin of your left leg is perpendicular to the long edge of the mat. You're spinning your chest towards the sky, so you're opening up through the heart, prepping for some chakra work that we're going to do soon, and then bringing the arm up to reach for the wall that's over to above you, or to reach for the ceiling. If you want to come into the full side plank variation, please do, if that feels good. And then really push the mat away so you get this oblique action. And breathe. It's okay to wobble. It's okay to shake. That's really good. Take a nice big inhale. And a long, slow exhale out. And then come back into plank. And hold the plank for a little bit longer. We're almost done with this, the plank, that is. And then lower the knees, coming into modified plank. And then lower yourself down slowly to the mat. Elbows facing the back of the room. Chest is the first thing to hit the mat. Untuck the toes. Push the tops of the feet into the mat like you're coming into cobra. We're going to do something a little different. Bring your hands out a little wider than the mat. So both your hands are just out from your shoulders, but they're a little bit wider than the mat. Forehead is down on the mat. Your body is engaged just like you're going to do cobra, and we're going to do cobra rolls and really focus on the heart space. So we've covered the first 3 chakras. Now we're pulling the energy up to the heart space. Okay, push into the tops of the feet, pull the belly button in towards the spine. Hands are tented, so cupcaked hands, so push into the fingertips, leading with the back of the neck, and then letting the head slowly roll up. The head is the last thing to come up. Lifting the chest, opening through the chest like you're trying to stamp your heart on the ceiling. And then lower slowly. Head is the last thing to come down. Again, inhale, lifting up through the back of the neck. Head is the last thing to come up, opening through the heart. And exhale, lower. So really focus on your heart center here. Notice a glowing green wheel spinning at your heart center. And keeping the abs engaged. So we're still keeping the essence of the first 3 chakras as we tap into the heart chakra. Last one. Hold it at the top, not your breath, but the pose. And lower down slowly. Okay. Tuck your toes. Put your hands under your shoulders or on either side of your chest. On an inhale, push up in a straight line into plank. Hips up and back for downward facing dog. On the inhale, come forward into plank. Push shoulders past wrists. Exhale, chaturanga. Look out ahead of you, not down at your feet. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take a big breath here. Exhale it out. Take a nice slow inhale through the nose. And an even longer, slower exhale out of the nose. And then bring your knees down onto the mat. We're going to come into thunderbolt pose. I'm going to face you for this one. So for thunderbolt pose, the tops of your feet are flat on the mat and you're just sitting back onto your heels. It's different from heroes because heroes, you'd actually be having your bum come between your feet, but we're resting on the feet. So just take a moment here to tap in to what you've done already. So you could bring your hands in your lap, just like this, or even bring them to heart center. It's totally up to you. But think about and visualize starting at the root chakra. So a red flowing spinning wheel at your root, moving up, an orange spinning wheel at your sacral chakra, and feeling the safety and the groundedness and then the creativity and the individuality, and seeing the yellow spinning wheel in your solar plexus, feeling that personal power, the strength. And then connecting to the heart, seeing the green spinning wheel at your heart space, and having self-compassion and self-love so that you can have compassion and love for others. Without the safety, we don't have the creativity and the freedom in our sexuality and the individuality. Without those, we don't have the ability to stand in our personal power, and we don't have the ability to freely love. We don't feel safe and able to be ourselves, and able to speak our truth, or able to be in our personal power and be ourselves. We can't be in the heart. The heart is kind of like I guess it would be like a conduit for each. So we have the lower three chakras and then the upper three chakras. And the heart is kind of like it allows those three to connect, the top three to connect to the bottom three. We need true self-compassion and love for life to be able to speak our truth in a safe way, and to have that insight and to connect to something greater. So we're just reflecting on that in this moment. If your eyes were closed, you can open them now. Inhale, arms up, palms to touch overhead, keeping the shoulders out of the ears, and then bring the hands behind you, interlocking the fingers. So if that isn't comfortable for your shoulders, you can use a sock. This is where the yoga strap comes in handy, or a t-shirt or a towel. So interlocking the fingers, if it does feel okay, rolling the shoulders up, back, and down, pushing down through the fist package and bringing a little arch to the back, not much. And then lift the fist package up off the lower back. Opening up through the heart space, but knitting the ribs in. So we don't want to just be totally open like that. So just bring the belly button in towards the spine, close the ribs, open up through the heart. And then looking right to left. Now we're moving into Vishuddhi chakra, which is the throat chakra. Good. Now looking up and down. And now looking up to wherever is comfortable for your neck, focusing on the throat chakra, opening the throat chakra, which is all about owning your truth, speaking your truth, owning your voice. So speak out loud today's affirmation. I welcome all parts. All of me is welcome here. Inhale. Exhale it out with a sigh. I welcome all parts. All of me is welcome here. Seeing that blue spinning wheel at your throat, and releasing the arms, shaking them out. Lovely. So from here, bring your knees as wide as the mat, toes to touch behind you. Push the hips back back, back. So seat to feet. Walk the hands out in front of you. We're coming into modified child's pose, Balasana. You're going to bring your forehead to the mat. And this is where we're going to focus on the third eye. So that's right here. If your forehead does not comfortably touch the mat, you can use books, yoga blocks, or stack your fists and just rest your forehead on your fists and breathe here, really focusing on that third eye spot. Deeply breathing in through the nose and releasing it through the nose on a count of 4. Keeping the elbows lifted so we're not sinking into it. We're pushing down through the palms. Seeing an indigo wheel spinning and glowing. Connecting to the concept of insight, intuition, awareness. One more breath here. A long, slow exhale out. Good. On the next inhale, lift the head. Come forward into tabletop. Walk the knees back a little bit so that you're in that modified plank. Tuck the toes under, push the hips up and back, downward facing dog. One breath here. And then on the next inhale, come forward into plank and push the shoulders past the wrist, lower down into chaturanga. On the exhale, inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And after the last exhale, inhale, lifting the right leg up into the air for 3-legged dog. You can open the hip up, but keep your chest and your shoulders facing the mat. On the exhale, come forward, bringing the knee to the nose, shoulders over elbows over wrists. Push the mat away with all of your strength, hollow belly, and then step your right foot between your hands. Gently, intentionally, coming into lunge. If you have blocks, you can use them here. So we're in this lunge. And in lunge, you're wanting your left heel, which is back towards the back of the mat, to be shooting towards the wall behind you. Your right knee is pulling towards the wall in front of you, but you're keeping it stacked over your ankle. And think of pulling your legs together like you're trying to close them so that you have this energy between your legs here. And you're not sagging, you're pushing up. So shoulders are back, chest lifted, shoulders back. Focusing on pulling the energy up from the root to the sacral, to the solar plexus, to the heart, to the throat, to the third eye. And now we're moving up to the crown. So we're gonna, on the inhale, lift up, coming in to crescent. So the shift that happens is that as you stand up and lengthen up through the crown of the head, your left heel is going to stack on top of your left toes. Bring your arms up into the air. So focusing on the crown of the head, so right here, and lengthening it up towards the sky, while keeping your hips facing forward, and bend in your right knee, and think of pushing your left hamstring up towards the sky as well. Another thing to add is that you can lengthen the tailbone down towards the mat to really have that focus from the root all the way to the crown. Great. So this next one you're going to need to prepare for. So while you're in crescent, take a deep breath. A long, slow exhale out. You're going to push off the left foot and come forward. Bring all your weight onto the right foot while you bring your left knee up to your chest real quick. And then we're going to sit into a figure 4 chair. It's a lot. So you might want to shorten your stance if you already feel a little wobbly, but we're in crescent. Take a breath, exhale it out. On the next inhale, you're going to push off. Sorry about that, y'all. So we're in crescent. Give ourselves a moment here. In crescent. And you're going to push off, bringing the hands down, interlocking the fingers in front of the left shin, pulling the knee in real quick, and then release and bring the left foot just above the right knee. So for this figure 4, then you're going to sit your hips back, so sending the hips back for chair. And you can bring your hands to prayer pose at heart center, or you can hold on to the leg. Good. Stay with that there. Ooh, if it's windy in your room, you can fall out of it as many times as necessary. Just remember, we're wanting to keep this knee moving back. So it's like the shin is being pulled towards the wall behind you. Chest is lifted still. Like it's normal to come forward a little bit, but we don't want to be closing the chest, you know? So opening through the heart space. Then place the left foot down. So you're in chair. Arms lifted. So sending the booty back, pulling the knees and the shins back towards the back of the mat. Belly button pulling in towards the spine. Straight, a flat back. Arms are up, right alongside your ears. Shoulders down out of the ears. And hold. Now, the reason I want you to hold here is focus on, in every pose moving forward, focusing on lengthening up through the crown of the head, no matter which way you're going, okay? So right now we're not standing up straight, but you can still lengthen up through the crown of the head. Keeping the channel clear, having a flat back, pulling the energy from the root all the way up out the back of the crown of the head. Good. On the exhale, you're gonna come into a forward fold. So you're gonna dive down, coming into Uttanasana. Inhale, monkey pose. Again, lengthening up through the crown of the head towards the wall in front of you. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, monkey pose. And when we're in monkey pose, I just want to share this with you that oftentimes you'll feel like all your weight coming to your heels. Try to bring your weight forward onto your toes a little more. And then exhale, coming into forward fold. And then inhale to rise. Great job. Let's do the other side. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, get tall. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, monkey pose. Exhale, hands on the mat, step right foot, left foot back, coming into plank. On the inhale, push the shoulders past the wrists. On the exhale, lower down to Chaturanga. Elbows facing the back of the room. Bottom of a push-up. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Not going to stay here long. Take a breath. Exhale it out. On your next breath, lift the left leg up to three-legged dog. So hip is open again, but your shoulders are facing the mat. On the exhale, come forward, shoulders over elbows over wrists, knee into nose. Push the mat away, hollow low belly, and then step the left foot between the hands. So we're doing the same thing on this side. You already know where we're going, but I'll still walk you through. Remembering what our focus is in this practice is self-integration. So don't lose sight of pulling the energy from the root up through the crown of the head, connecting to your breath here in this lunge. So again, good place for blocks. Bring the energy like you're pulling the right and the left leg towards one another, chest lifted, shoulders back. Align yourself to finding that energetic line from your root to your crown. Picture the energy moving up and down, integrating all parts of yourself. Good. On the inhale, rise up to crescent, arms up into the air. Again, focusing on that line of energy. So lengthen the tailbone down. Picture all the chakras coming up through the back of the crown of the head, that straight line. Right heel stacked over right toes, right hamstring pushing up towards the ceiling. Great job. And now we're gonna push off the right foot, coming to stand at the top of the mat. Okay, bringing the right knee in towards the chest. So interlocking the fingers in front of the right shin, pulling the knee in, giving it a good squeeze. Okay. Releasing it, coming to figure four. So right foot just above left knee, pushing through the heel and the ball of the right foot at the same time. So keeping that foot active. And then sit back into figure four chair. Let me turn this way. Woo, a little windy. And breathe here. If you fall out of it, no worries. Often helps to have a focal point, so something that you can focus your gaze on. It's called drishti. And step the right foot down to right next to the left, coming into chair. Remember to keep the shoulder blades moving back and down. And come into that forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Just breathe here for a second. I welcome all parts. All of me is welcome here. Take one last inhale here. On the exhale, bring your hands to hips. Rise up with a flat back. Bring your feet as wide as the mat, toes slightly turned out. And we're going to come into Malasana. So we're going to do this slowly. So this is a good place for blocks. You could bring a block or some textbooks and put them under your bum. You could also roll up a blanket or an extra yoga mat and have it under your heels if your heels aren't flat in Malasana. So there's a lot of options here. So you have your hands on your legs. You can bring them to heart center, or even on your hip if you want. Hips. So inhale, lower a little. Lower a little bit more. A little more. A little more. Trying to keep your chest lifted. A little more. Lengthening the tailbone down towards the mat. A little more. And then go ahead and come into Malasana. So again, lengthening the tailbone down, lifting the chest up. Like you're stamping the heart on the ceiling. Bring the hands to heart center for prayer pose, and you can push the elbows on the inside of the knees to push the knees away to get a little bit more of a stretch. Connecting to that energetic channel right now. thinking about how you uniquely show up with these traits. How do you uniquely ground into your safety, into your environment? How do you uniquely connect to your creativity and your sexuality? How do you uniquely stand in your personal power? How do you uniquely love? How do you uniquely speak your truth? How do you uniquely be in awareness and insight? Connect to your intuition. And how do you uniquely connect to your higher power? Connect to consciousness. Okay, bring your hands flat on the mat. Push your bum up into the air so you're in kind of like a somewhat semi-wide legged forward fold. And just let the body hang. Knees can be soft and just sway back and forth. Just breathe here. Letting the neck hang. If you want a little neck stretch, you can interlock the fingers at the base of the neck, at the nape of the neck. Bring the elbows in towards each other. Just briefly, because it's pretty intense, you can grab opposite elbows. So it's kind of like a wide-legged ragdoll with no real bend in the knee. Getting some traction to the spine. I could fall asleep here. Release the hands down and come back into asana. For just a moment, take a breath. Exhale it out, and then start to bring the toes forward and then sit the bum back. And come right onto your back. Bring the knees into the chest, rock back and forth. Apanasana. And then feet up in the air. You can hold the backs of the legs if you want or not. Roll the ankles one way. Roll them the other way. Walk the feet up and down. Curl the toes and then uncurl them. So spread the toes apart. Good. And then just kind of shake the legs out. Bring the knees into the chest. And we're going to come into happy baby. So allow the knees to fall out to the side. So knees fall out to either side. Bring your legs up into the air like you're trying to walk on the ceiling. So feet are flexed. And you can grab the outside edge of the feet, the inside edge of the feet, the ankle, shins, the knees, whatever. Just find what works best for you so that you can be in this pose comfortably without straining too much. So you want your shoulders to be melting down into the mat, not like lifted up like this. Head should be on the mat. Shoulders are melting into the mat, and you are lengthening your tailbone down towards the bottom of the mat. It's like you're pulling your knees down to your armpits towards the ground. Maybe you want to straighten one leg. Maybe the other. Maybe both. Bringing the knees to the chest again. And then lift the shoulders and the head up, hugging the knees in really, 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 really tight, 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 tight little ball. Squeeze, 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 and then release the legs down. Feet are as wide as the mat. Toes are falling out to the side. Feet are limp. Hands are a little wider than the mat. Palms face up. Fingers limp. Tuck the shoulder blades back and down into your back pocket. Open through the chest. Coming into Shavasana, take a deep breath in. Exhale it out through the mouth. Another deep breath in. Exhale it out. And from here, allow your breathing to just fall into its natural cadence, your natural breath. Relaxing through the back of the head. Releasing the forehead. Releasing the jaw. Letting the tongue go limp. Relaxing through the throat and the neck. And noticing if your chest feels tight or heavy. Breathe into that space. And then exhale, letting it go, releasing any tension or stress. Releasing the shoulders, letting them melt down into the mat. Relaxing through the upper back, mid back, low back. Relaxing through both the arms. So relaxing the upper arm, releasing the elbow. Relaxing through the lower arm, releasing the wrists, letting the hands go limp. Releasing through the core, through your abs. Noticing if you're clenching through the core, through the hips, through the glutes. Breathing into those spaces. Then letting it go. Releasing, relaxing. Relaxing through the upper leg, releasing the knees. Relaxing through the lower leg, releasing the ankles, letting the feet go limp. And just feeling all the tension melt into the mat. Staying in the Shavasana, if that's what your body and your mind, your heart is calling for, or if it's ready, if you're ready to go. Taking some deep breaths here, wiggling the fingers and the toes. Maybe rolling out the wrists and the ankles. Taking some deep breaths. Stretching the arms up overhead. Stretching the legs long. Maybe bringing a little arch to the back for a good morning stretch. Finding your way onto your side, using your bottom arm as a pillow. Take a couple deep, full breaths here. And when you're ready, push yourself up using the strength of your top arm, letting the head be the last thing to come up. Maybe even keeping your eyes closed. Coming to a comfortable seat. And bringing your right hand to your belly, left hand to your heart space. If you used an essential oil or a scent, maybe connecting to that now. Continuing to breathe deeply, staying in this parasympathetic state. Connect to that idea, the theme of self-integration. There are many ways to integrate. Today, you experienced starting in the body and moving from physically integrating ourselves using the chakra system and the energy system to moving into concepts and emotions and spirituality. Connecting to the affirmation, I welcome all parts. All of me is welcome here. Practicing this on the mat, putting our recovery first on the mat so that we can do these things off the mat and put our recovery first off. Connecting to the sound, feeling your body. Take one last deep breath here. And exhale it out. Bringing the hands to heart center prayer pose. Connecting again to that affirmation for one last time, maybe saying it out loud. Continuing to open your throat chakra. I welcome all parts. All of me is welcome here. Big inhale. Exhale it out. Dipping the chin to the chest, bowing the head. Bowing to wherever feels comfortable for you. Bringing the thumbs to the third eye. The light in me honors the light in you. And I'm so grateful that you chose to spend this time with me today. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your recovery process, your healing journey. And thank you so much for being a part of mine. I am truly honored and grateful to have such amazing people that are working on themselves, working on, breaking the cycle. So if you enjoyed that, come back here. I'll be posting a new video a week. It won't always be yoga, sometimes it will be meditation, or maybe even like there will be some lectures, some trainings, but often there will be a movement component, because I believe that's super important. And no matter what we're doing, that movement really helps us to get there. So some things that are going on right now is I'm going to be offering a free group meditation. It will be about an hour long. It will be on Zoom. And it will be recovery focused. So be looking out for that. I have moved the date of the kickoff of the 6-week journey. So that's the 6-week group coaching container for women on a healing and recovery journey who want to find more security and sustainability in their recovery through releasing shame, self-judgment, guilt, self-blame, self-doubt, negative self-talk, all of that. And yeah, so we are starting that instead of this past week, we're going to start it the week after next. Just had some stuff come up and some women who said that that would work best for them. So yeah, that's when we're starting it. It's, as I said, 6-week group coaching container for women on a healing recovery journey. Definitely something that will help you in your recovery. And because if we don't deal with the shame and self-doubt, our recovery is definitely at risk. That is one of the building blocks of your recovery, is processing and releasing shame and changing the narrative around that, getting out of limiting beliefs. Shame will take you back out every time. So that's what this is really, this program kind of came out of, definitely came out of hearing so many of the women in the community saying that this was what kept tripping them up, right? Is the shame that they felt about things that they did in their addiction, shame for losing their children to OCS or DFS, and then what they went through. And this is like feeling shame about it, even if they've gotten their kids back, life is good now, still having that shame and that self-judgment about it, shame about how they treated their parents, shame about how they treated themselves. So that's where this program came from. It's a combination of 3 evidence-based therapeutic framework. So cognitive behavioral therapy, motivational interviewing, dialectical behavioral therapy, all combined. And we move through them in the 6 weeks. And then healing practices that kind of go with each week, and that are kind of handpicked. They are handpicked for this focus: shame, self-judgment, limiting beliefs, old narratives. So some of the healing practices are inner child work, inner child meditations, emotional freedom technique, creative visualization, powerful journaling, intentional journaling, trauma-informed yoga, somatic movement, or somatic practices, somatic experiencing type practices, hypnosis, things like that. So I'm really excited about it. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, or any of that resonates with you, you can reach out to me on Facebook, Kaylin Kelly, or you can email me at kaylin@purposefulempowered.com if you have any questions or want to know more about that. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you again. I hope you find ease and joy throughout your day. Remember, recovery doesn't have to be hard. You definitely find ease on your journey, right? Be intentional, be committed, put recovery first. Anything you put before your recovery, you lose first, right? Love, light, seeing you in your highest potential.